Israel's ground operation in the Gaza Strip has drawn harsh criticism from Saudi Arabia. Such a ground invasion, stressed a Saudi official, could send the area into an extended and never-ending spiral of violence. Welcome everyone in today's video. We're going to look at Saudi Arabia warns Israel against any ground operation in Gaza. He called attention to the genuine dilemma and moral obligation that the international community, and especially the UN Security Council, faces and urged prompt and decisive action to end the violence, safeguard people, and resolve the current conflicts. But before we proceed the further video, if you're new to this channel, remember, go ahead and hit the bell icon to subscribe so you won't miss the informative videos we will upload in the future. The kingdom voiced worry that the operation will have detrimental effects on global security and peace. In order to stop the humanitarian crisis from getting worse, Saudi Arabia demanded a quick and comprehensive ceasefire. It also emphasized the urgent need for humanitarian aid to be sent to Gaza in order to lessen the suffering of the Palestinian people. Prince Faisal bin Farhan, the foreign minister, spoke on the phone with representatives of several Arab nations, including Jordan, Morocco, and Egypt. The talk centered on stepping up joint efforts to stop military buildup, avoid forcible relocation of Gaza residents, and include the international community in regular relief and medical assistance. In addition, Jassim al-Budaiwi, the Secretary General of the Gulf Cooperation Council, KCK, emphasized that the lack of a political resolution is making the situation in Gaza worse, and that the Security Council bears primary responsibility for bringing about peace and security in the Middle East. Israel persisted in its military campaign, in the meantime, advising Gaza's Palestinian population to temporarily relocate south for protection. Expanding its air and ground attacks, the Israeli army charged that Hamas was utilizing civilian areas for military objectives. The number of deaths in Gaza has increased dramatically, with women and children suffering a disproportionately high toll. 120 states backed the UN General Assembly's resolution, which demanded an urgent humanitarian ceasefire. Israel, however, rejected it. The Saudi Crown Prince informs the President of Iran that he is in contact with all international parties, emphasizing the need to cease war crimes against Palestine in Tehran's statement. Attending the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Leaders Informal Dialogue with guests on November 18, 2022, in Bangkok, Thailand, is Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. Saudi Arabia's Riyadh, the President of Iran and the de facto leader of Saudi Arabia, discussed the conflict between Israel and Hamas over the phone, which started when the terror group launched a huge attack on the Jewish state over the weekend, according to early Thursday's Saudi state media. Ibrahim Raisi, the head of Iran, called Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman on Wednesday. They spoke about the current military situation in Gaza and its environs. According to the official Saudi press agency, it was their first conversation after an unannounced reconciliation in March. After the terrorist organization, Hamas suddenly launched a deadly multi-pronged attack on Israel on Saturday and breached the border fence. War broke out. More than 1,500 assailants entered the nation while 5,000 rockets were fired into Israeli towns and cities. Over 1,300 individuals were killed by the terrorists during their hours-long, merciless rampage through southern districts. The great majority of the victims were civilians. Approximately 150 men, women, and children were also kidnapped by the attackers and taken prisoner into Gaza. With heavy airstrikes, Israel has replied, claiming it is targeting terrorist infrastructure and any locations where Hamas operates or hides. It has also issued evacuation alerts to residents in places it intends to hit. Riyadh is communicating with all international and regional parties to stop the ongoing escalation, according to what bin Salman informed Raisi, according to SPA. According to the statement, he also emphasized the kingdom's steadfast commitment towards supporting the Palestinian cause. The two men spoke on the phone on the need to cease war crimes against Palestine, according to a report from the Iranian state news agency IRNA. On September 20, 2023, Iranian President Ebrahim Raisi addresses a press conference held at UN headquarters in New York City, alongside the 78th United Nations General Assembly. Authorities in Gaza claim that Israel's retaliation campaign of airstrikes and artillery attacks has killed over 1,000 civilians. Israel has issued evacuation orders to residents in places it intends to hit, claiming that it is targeting terrorist infrastructure as well as any locations where Hamas operates or hides. Concerns over the fate of the hostages that Hamas is holding in Gaza, primarily Israeli citizens, but also foreigners and dual nationals, have grown as the conflict continues. According to analysts, the war has severely damaged any chance of peace between Israel and Saudi Arabia, which is home to some of Islam's holiest sites. The government of US President Joe Biden has spearheaded this process, with not pressing Washington for perks, including security assurances and assistance in creating a civilian nuclear program. Iran maintains that it was not involved in the attack on Saturday, despite having long supported Hamas militarily and financially. On Wednesday, US President Joe Biden claimed he had instructed Iran to keep out of the dispute between Israel and Hamas, which is supported by Tehran. During a roundtable discussion at the White House, Biden informed leaders of the American Jewish community, "We made it obvious to the Iranians. Be careful." The Lebanese terrorist organization Hezbollah, which has accumulated a sizable rocket arsenal and frequently threatens to attack Israel, is Iran's most potent proxy in the region. Since the start of the conflict in the south, there have been several violent clashes along the northern border, including one in which 3 Israeli troops were murdered in a terrorist attack claimed by the terror group Palestinian Islamic Jihad, and one in which rockets shot from Lebanon at Israel. Israel has fired artillery attacks in retaliation. Following a 7-year break, Saudi Arabia and Iran declared in March that they had reached an agreement to resume relations thanks to mediation by China. The 38-year-old Saudi leader said he was exerting relentless efforts through regional and international communication to produce coordination that pushes for a halt of the current escalation during a phone conversation he had on Wednesday with Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan. According to reports in Turkish media on Wednesday, Erdogan was in talks with Hamas to free captives who had been abducted. According to the Turkish news outlet Haberturk, Erdogan gave the order to begin negotiations. Additionally, it stated that he has been actively involved in efforts to prevent the situation from getting worse. September 20, 2023, in New York at the United Nations General Assembly, Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan. Erdogan has recently made peace with Israel, but he still mostly backs Hamas and has refrained from denouncing the terror organization for its murder of Israelis. He criticized the West earlier in the day for blindly siding with Israel and urged moderation on all sides. Referring to Israel's bombardment of Gaza, he declared, "A struggle carried out with all types of terrible techniques is not a combat but a massacre." That's all for today's video. Are you conscious of the fact there are acute shortages of necessities for Gaza's 2.3 million citizens because of the continuous fighting and embargo? Don't forget to like the video and hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any new videos from our channel. Thanks for watching and see you all soon.